It's 6 a.m. at RetroCon. We're getting ready for the vendors to come in so we can finish up setup time. Oh, the first vendors are here! Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin, and I'm here to talk about toys. This week, I'm talking about RetroCon. RetroCon is my favorite convention of the year. It's held every year in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Greater Philly Expo Center. This was the second year of it being in Hall A, which was bigger than any previous iteration of the show. They have TV and movie celebrity guests. They have cars from various movies and TV properties. They have tons of toy vendors, panels, cosplay contests, and so much more. I love helping out with RetroCon. Rose and Tony, the people that organize the show, are good friends of mine. And every year I go and help out with registration and just different odds and end things, helping check in the vendors. I love helping my friends Rose and Tony out with RetroCon. There is a core group of people that help out with everything from setup through teardown, getting people their badges, taking care of the guests. And I know they couldn't do the show without all that help. So it's always my pleasure to help out with whatever I can to make sure this show happens. One of the best things about RetroCon is getting to hang out with all my friends that are at the show. Mike and Jen Bro, Trick, Chris Sheets, Chris Long from Long's Toys, and many more people. But it's awesome to get to spend that weekend together, doing some toy hunting, having a lot of fun, swapping stories about the guests and everything else. RetroCon is a 2-day show, open Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, obviously, is the main day because it's the first day, and I help out with the pre-registration group. So before the show even opens for early buyers, which are the pre-registration people, before 9 o'clock, the people on that shift and I go outside, and we walk down the line that's already started to wrap around the building, and we're checking people off the pre-reg line and handing them their badges. So at exactly 9 o'clock, they can just walk straight in. It's a really awesome system we have going on. And then anybody that gets in line after we do that, then they can basically funnel right behind those people straight into the pre-registration table at 9 or right after and get their badges and go in and enjoy that first hour of shopping. Then at 10, they start taking cash, and everybody, the general public that didn't pre-register, can come in. Saturday morning, the line went super smooth for getting those pre-reg people in. We had a lot of fun at the table. Renee, Mike Bro, myself, Chris from Long's Toys, racing to check people off, hand out the badges, complimenting people on their retro t-shirts and having fun seeing some of the cosplay people. It's a great shift to work because you kind of get to see everybody as they come in, and everybody is like ecstatic and excited to get into the show. The con was so busy on Saturday. I'm predicting it was the busiest RetroCon. I don't know for sure total numbers or anything like that, but Saturday was busy. After finishing the shift at pre-reg and just checking on a few minor things, then Chris and I started walking the show floor to see what cool stuff we could find. Some of this video is things I saw but didn't buy, and some of it will be my haul. One very unique thing I saw was knockoff ceramic Star Wars busts. These are clearly from the 70s. Now, I don't know if the mold was made in the 70s, and these are more recent casts from that mold, but I have seen some of these designs glazed up and secondhand for sale. A friend of mine actually collects some of these goofy pieces, because they're all unique once they're glazed. So I don't know whether this unglazed version is actually vintage or not, but it's definitely made from a vintage mold. I had to chuckle. Somebody had the deck from the flag set up to kind of, show off some jets and stuff, but they had the little elevator section that goes on the side out front extending the length of the deck, and it kind of cracked me up. Retro clothing is something that's kind of an interesting thing to collect because usually it doesn't fit you. If it's a kid's brand, like G.I. Joe kids shirts from the 80s, obviously won't fit most G.I. Joe collectors today. But that kind of stuff is fun to collect. I saw this really cool retro laser tag shirt. One of my first purchases at the show was a Super Mario Brothers movie Mario figure. I have Luigi loose, and I've had him for years. I've never had a Mario, so I picked him up for a couple of bucks. From Tracy, from one of the G.I. Joe groups. He runs the Trader PX meetup that I've been to a few times. So I got a nice deal on him. I spied the Thundercats Big Wheel at the convention. If you haven't seen the Big Wheels episode of Pegwarmers, I did with Farpoint Toys a while back, and actually features a cameo from Rose from Retrocon in that episode. Buddha, who had the Big Wheel there, is selling copies of his unofficial Thundercats Collector's Guide book. There were Wave Manor Batcave playsets of all colors at the show. These two happened to be right next to each other, so I took a clip, but there were others. At a table selling retro action figures, I saw a Linkso. This is one of the Thundercats figures that I would really like to get for my collection. He's very expensive, and this one, while being a much better price, had a lot of paint wear, which is why the price was lower. So I did not bite on him. Someday I'll get a Linkso. Someday I'll make that the priority of like a thing that I'm trying to finish off. Is those vintage Thundercats. I do always look, but I was hunting for some other things this time. There was also a booth that had a ton of cool tin TV trays. I loved the Wuzzle one they had there. I think Jen Bro might have been looking at the Strawberry Shortcakes one. I have a G.I. Joe one, but there's a cool Ninja Turtles one. They're hard to display. Oh, and I bought a Batman Returns one not too long ago. They're hard to display, but they are kind of cool. And definitely an element of their time, or a relic of their time. I got a 4-pack of monsters in my pockets. I loved this brand as a kid. There are some SEO tour review videos talking about monsters in my pocket on this channel. This set had the Hunchback, Charon, the Mad Scientist, and Spring Hill Jack. These are some of my favorite Wave 1 monsters in my pocket figures. When I got this home, because I was pretty sure this was not a combination I had, the other carded 4-pack I have also has a Hunchback in a different color. But I really like this set. It's so nostalgic to me to see these figures set up this way, and I got a great deal. My buddy Al sold this to me. He had it marked cheaper than someone else at RetroCon that was selling some of these packs, and he discounted even more for me for being a loyal customer. So this was a pretty cool pickup. The cosplay contest was amazing. There were so many awesome costumes. Voltron blew my mind. There was also a Centurion. You don't see people cosplaying as Centurions. And of course, other G.I. Joe characters, including a kid dressed as Slice from Ninja Force. That was awesome. Anybody remember Stompers and their action track system? There's an 80s toy line for you. The Thundercats Electra sketch. Another one of these goofy drawing toys from the 80s. What a weird toy. There were so many of those kind of janky drawing toys in the 80s where you'd use pressure and two different plies would kind of like make a line show through, right? Do you remember those like clipboards that you draw on with the pen and it would press the wax papery type stuff down to the board behind it and leave a line? That, the Electro sketch, these kinds of things were goofy and not great. Another really unique thing I saw there was a Power Ranger Super Soaker. This is just a sticker slap kind of product. I had this exact same Super Soaker in different colors, but this one has some Power Ranger decals on it, but I don't think I'd ever seen that before. RetroCon is always so much fun, and there's just so much stuff to look at. I know I often talk about Amy, Will, and Ben being some of the vendors that I really enjoy getting to talk to and often buy some stuff from, and I picked up several things from them this year, including Rufus from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. This is a great action figure. I believe he's the keyboard player for the Wild Stallions in the toy line based on the cartoon. I have Bill and Ted loose, and now I have Rufus. I picked up Argo's Bleak from Captain Planet. I thought he was wearing his accessories because I'm not super familiar with the accessories on this brand. I collect a lot of the figures, but I don't have really any of the accessories to it. But when I got home and kind of looked them up, I realized these are actually for a different character. Is it Verminous Rex? Am I thinking the right name? The Jeff Goldblum rat character? So I'll give these accessories to him, and it's actually a double of the figure because I was buying him basically for the accessories. But this guy really has like a helmet kind of thing. So anyway, this was one of those kind of moments, and you grab something that you don't really know a lot about, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. Kind of purchase. There was a vendor who had some really nice Superpowers toys there. The old Kenner Superpower line was fantastic, and it's really a line I would like to focus on sometime. It wasn't really like on my radar this year. I wasn't focusing on it. I don't know every single figure that I own from that line. There were definitely some there that I don't have. I know I don't have Clark Kent. I know I don't have Brainiac. But like I said, I wasn't focusing on that line. Currently, I kind of had some stuff in mind that I wanted to pick up. One of the vendors that I talked to had a really nice Shogun Warrior Godzilla. She was a little disappointed it didn't sell on Saturday, but partway through Sunday, it did sell. She also had some really cool retro Hot Wheels and Matchbox sets. If you didn't see the Kenner RoboCop episode that I did with Tony from Hack the Movies recently, you should check that out. I bought a second carded Night Fighter RoboCop because I really want a loose one, and this card's pretty beat, and he was pretty cheap. So I'm going to open him up and take RoboCop out. Oh. He's broken. Oh, that sucks. I also picked up one of the figures I was missing in that video. I picked up Scorcher, who is the Vandal Flamethrower Pyromaniac, and his face is insane. I plan to open Scorcher because I would like to have the RoboCop line loose. His card's not in great shape, and he was pretty inexpensive, but I'm a little nervous after opening up Broken RoboCop. Possibly the most ridiculous face in all of vintage toys. The figure has a little tube hose that connects the figure to the backpack. The gun clips on his arm. It's got a spring-loaded flame missile. And the helmet is really not a good fit. I'm not going to force it on there, because it covers up that ridiculous face anyway. Whoever designed this figure must have also worked on mask. I'm going to have to show you guys the back of this package. I did not know about some of these toys when we made that video. There were a lot of Wave 2 vehicles. Whether they were released or not, I'm not sure. But the Robo-Tank, Vandal 1, the Robo-Hawk, those are pretty crazy. I would like to do a side-by-side comparison and try and figure out if Vandal 1 is a retool of the Terminator car from the Terminator 2 toy line. I got a Police Academy scooter. I don't remember which character this goes to. I can visualize him, but I can't think of his name. I don't think it's Hightower, but maybe it is. But there is a Police Academy figure who has his hands out to hold handlebars. Now I got his motorcycle. It's not a line that I am hardcore collecting, but when I find stuff cheap for it, I do pick it up. Because I think it would be a fun episode to do sometime. And I liked the Police Academy movies as a kid, or at least the one that I had taped off TV. And I don't remember the cartoon much, but I remember the toy line. Found this in a dig bin. This was a pack-in for G.I. Joe figures. It's G.I. Joe face camouflage, never been used. Vendor gave me this for free, which was awesome. I had some of these as a kid, never packed in with Joes. I never bought a Joe that had them packed in, but I bought some at a yard sale one time. In the current era that they were brand new, and used them on some of my G.I. Joes, and maybe on myself. I don't remember that so much, but I remember smearing it on some Joes. But these are kind of fun little pack-in things. I only own one or two of them, so always happy to throw another one in the collection. Walking around, I saw some amazing Migos, including Wizard of Oz and Star Trek. Saw some Jim Henson dinosaurs. That's a line that I've been trying to get loose. Did any of you guys buy the NECA Dinosaurs figures? I have not, but they look so good. I am tempted every time I see them at Target. Oh my gosh, there were these amazing Godzilla and King Kong statues at the convention. They looked fantastic. One of the few purchases I shared online during the show was this knockoff Blanka figure from Street Fighter. The thing I like about him so much is that clearly he was inspired by his G.I. Joe Street Fighter figure. Because if you look at his pants, he has the boots and he has the studded belt buckle there that is definitely from Road Pig, which was the body they used for Blanka. The Blanka figure from G.I. Joe was an all-new head on a recolored Road Pig body, and this figure definitely takes heavy inspiration from that. There were so many Polly Pockets at RetroCon this year. I was shocked. There was this whole case of carded Polly Pockets, and somebody I talked to bought a bunch of loose Polly Pockets. $225 for a Monomon. I am glad that I have the Kenner Star Wars line. I don't have all the accessories, and I probably never will because it's so expensive to get Amon Amon's staff or Luke in Stormtrooper Disguise's helmet or blaster. But, man, they have skyrocketed. I thought these guys were expensive when I was collecting them. This year at RetroCon, I was prepared with my list, and I tried to knock some accessories off that list. I bought some binoculars for no real reason. Picked up a couple missiles that I believe I need. A missile launcher that I'm pretty sure I need. A large gold gun. A large black gun. Daredevil's gun. And the helmet face shield for a Star Brigade roadblock figure that I needed. I have to cross all these accessories off on my need list and put them with the appropriate figures. As I've mentioned on the show a few times, we're hoping to do a Hook episode at some point. So I picked up a Robin Hood figure. As I've mentioned on the show before, we're hoping to do a Hook episode at some point, so I picked up a Peter Pan figure. Molecular was the last Silverhawks villain I needed from the vintage line. I've passed on him a few times because he was either a little bit pricier than I wanted or he was missing his little attachment that plugs into his hand. This time I decided to pull the trigger. I got him for a price I was happy with, even without that accessory. Probably will never find that to complete him, but at least I have the figure on my shelf. He came with his bird, which I did already have, but it's always nice to, get as many parts as you can at one shot. As I mentioned before, RetroCon has so much stuff going on. I got to go to the Cybertronic Spree concert on Saturday night.
Right? And then do an encore. It's very inefficient. We're robots. We hate that shit. So, instead, tonight, what we will do is we will take our encore inside. And we will power down on this very stage. If y'all whip it up, RetroCon, we will power right back up and give you an encore! So good. You guys have no idea what a hard reboot feels like. That was like 7 solar cycles and like just a couple extra cycles. I have all 4 of my megabytes available and it feels pretty good.
Mega Ran opened for the band, and then the band of Transformers played a bunch of awesome retro TV show themes and retro-inspired music, including some of the key songs from Transformers the movie. Always love going to see that show. I got to meet Townsend Coleman, and now I have 3 of the 4 Ninja Turtle figures autographed by their voice actors. Yo, Kevin, cowabunga, dude. Townsend Coleman, Mikey. Super excited to have this. It was great to get to meet him. I actually watched him in line talking to some of the kids that came up to meet him. He was phenomenal with the kids. He would, get down, bend down to be their height, talk to them. He'd do the high 3 with them. I mean, it was really nice to see. I love it when the celebrity guests really do have great interactions with the visitors that come to see them. Of course, the $6 Million Man was there, the Bionic Woman, some Happy Days cast members, the stars of The Last Starfighter. So much cool stuff was happening at the convention. If you've been watching this channel all year, you probably know that one of the things I was trying to focus on, besides getting the G.I. Joe accessories I need, is also trying to get the Bionic 6 line. That's sort of like a small line that I'm focused on this year. Amy, Will, and Ben recently got their hands on a really nice Bionic 6 collection, so I did some upgrading as well as getting some new stuff. There was almost another figure that I bought from them, but I just decided to wait. Kind of made it a Destiny piece. If it's still available, probably in October when I see them again at the Raiders of the Lost Toy Show in Woodbury, New Jersey, I'll probably pick it up then. But I got a really nice, fluffy, this is going to upgrade the Mechanical Ape from the Bionic 6 that's in my collection, who I was very happy with. I didn't plan to upgrade him. I would have been happy with the one I always had, but this one's just phenomenal, and it was reasonably priced. The most expensive thing I bought at RetroCon was JD, also goes by IQ. He's the oldest brother, I think, from the family. He's the adopted oldest brother, and he is in phenomenal shape. I recently got a really beat-up one just to have one in my collection, and he had his hat. Bionic 6 accessories are very hard to come by, so I was super excited to get this. And last but not least, I got Bungie, aka Karate 1, the one lone Bionic 6 figure that I've been looking for a really long time. This guy is not quite as pristine as the other two, but he's not terrible, and I'm happy to have him. Possibly I'll upgrade him someday, but, you know, yes! Karate 1, the one I wanted so much as a kid. There were also 3 screenings of The Last Starfighter at the movie theater in the same complex. They played it Friday night for people that came into town early, Saturday night for anybody that didn't want to go to the concert, and again Sunday after the con was over for anybody that was still in town, which is awesome. All the fun I had with my friends and all the stuff I bought aside, one of the coolest things about RetroCon is I got to bump into a whole bunch of you guys. So many people stopped me and said, hey, I watch Pegwarmers, love the show. I tried to ask people what their favorite episode was or what kind of episodes they like. Of course, a lot of them are fans of the Hack the Movies episodes. Somebody even mentioned liking an episode I did forever ago on SEO Toy Review where my buddy Nick and I compared 2 Defiants. The very last person that stopped and complimented the show, I actually asked him his haul. Check out what he picked up at RetroCon.
I bought Crazy Legs, Back Blast, Airtight. I'm gonna look around some more and see if I can find some more stuff. Looking for Hit and Run, Ripcord, and some more G.I. Joe stuff. So.
On Saturday, as the vendor hall was closing, Chris Long from Long's Toys and I shot a special episode. I am hoping to get that edited and released very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. A second RetroCon episode focusing on people that attended the convention and what they picked up. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, share this video with a toy collecting friend. If you want to support the channel further, consider joining us on Patreon. Thanks for hanging on the peg with me.